This is your brother Gabar coming to you live. This is I Am Fit Podcast. Are you fit to go God's way? Let's do it. And we've been here before. Is there a cycle of life that we need to understand as an individual? You know, we go through our evolution in our mind. We evolve, right? Who we were in our 20s is not who we are in our 30s and 40s and 50s. Shalom, peace and blessings to all the people that are joining us. Thank you for joining me. And you could have been, you could have been anywhere else, but you're here with me. I want to present a video, and I want to talk about it. I want to have a conversation about cycles that happens in society and what the Bible has to say about it. But one thing about man in the last, I don't know, 100 years or so, I don't know how far archaeologists go back. Let me ask Google. Hey, Google, how far back does archaeology goes?
According to Wikipedia, because archaeology is the study of past human activity, it stretches back to about 2.5 million years ago when the first stone tools are found, the Oldowan industry. I also found an answer to this question: how old is the field of archaeology? Do you want to hear it?
Yes.
On the website Britannica.com, they say, no doubt there have always been people who were interested in the material remains of the past, but archaeology as a discipline has its earliest origins in 15th and 16th century Europe, when the Renaissance humanists look back upon the glories of Greece and Rome.
Okay, thank you. Siri, or what's it? Google. So it goes back about a little over 100 years when they began to. It's a discipline. The first historians recorded. Now we're looking at this from a European perspective because everything started in Europe from, when you read things, there's always somebody in Europe, but a lot of Europeans took credit for other, for other discovery and so forth, so on. But you got Socrates, you got Plato, you have, these are philosophers. You have, I forgot the guy's name, the guy who, his name escapes me right now. But the point I wanted to bring out, now more than ever in history, we have data in regards how human people act collectively, individually, how society, empires rise and fall, what happens within those empires, and are we, hold on 2 seconds. Let me just okay, we're good. Privacy, public. Okay, we're good. Okay, I wanted to make sure we were good. So before we start the video, I just want to make sure, can you guys hear me? Hear me well? Give me a thumbs up. I see a lot of shalom, so I'm assuming I'm coming on clear. Just give me a thumbs up if it's good before we start. And I want to play this video. It's about 6 minutes and 37 seconds long. But I want to play this video.
In 80.
Excuse me, I'm sorry. Let me start here. So this video we're about to see it's a TikTok video, but it's presenting an argument or presenting a case. Is there a cycle within every generation that lasts between 80 to 100 years, give or take, the lifetime of a man's life, right? Relatively speaking. And what can we learn about this, right? What can we learn about this? Okay, I see a thumbs up. All right, so I think I'm coming in good. All right, outstanding. So let's see here. 2 seconds. Where is? Okay, outstanding. All right, just wanted to make sure I'm good. All right, so I want to play this video. Okay, is dealing with the cycle of life. This video is based on a book. Let me show you guys the book. This is the book right here. The Four Turnings. Okay. By William Strauss and Neil Yu, I believe. Okay, this is the book that we are discussing tonight, right? The Four Turnings. And they're going to explain it. Have we been here before? And if people agree with this cycle, if there's any validity to this cycle, which I believe it is, what can we learn from it, right? What can we learn from the four turnings that we now we have data and we could see the pattern of evidence within our society, right? So let's talk about it, right? I want to show you the video, fair use. This is the four turnings. I'm going to play it straight, okay? Probably going to get a strike, a copyright strike, but it's okay. I do it for you guys because this is about the information. Fair use.
History repeats itself in 80-year blocks called saeculum, but we'll just call them history blocks. Not exactly 80 years. This is history, not math, but roughly the span of a human lifetime. Maybe 80 to 90 years. Within these 80-year history blocks, we have four turnings of around 20 years each. We usually call them generations. This book calls them turnings. Turnings are sort of like seasons, like spring, summer, fall, winter. Throughout our history, we've had these 80-year blocks, and the 80-year blocks have been remarkably similar to each other. We're in one now. The first turning, the first season, is a high, an upbeat era. The second turning is an awakening, a passionate era. The third turning is an unraveling, a downcast era. And the fourth turning, well, sorry, but Fourth turnings suck. The fourth turning is a crisis, an era of upheaval. We're in a fourth turning right now. So let's take a look at our seculum, our history block. The history block that we're in the crisis of right now. Our high began after our World War II victory. By our, we mean America's. These are America's history blocks and turnings. During a high, the getting is good. We had the most even distribution of wealth during our high. You could work at a gas station and afford to buy a house. This high is the period that the MAGA hats refer to. We got Hank Williams and Elvis and Little Richard and the birth of rock and roll. We launched monkeys and men into space. This is when the Mustangs and Corvettes first came out. Our high ended with the assassination of John F. Kennedy on November 22nd, 1963. The high is not a high for everyone, of course. America still had a segregated South. Homosexuality was illegal and considered a mental disorder. The high is a period of conformity. The age of nonconformity and of social justice begins during the Awakening, our passionate era. During the Awakening, we had Martin Luther King and the Civil Rights Movement, acid, Vietnam protests and Vietnam itself, the women's liberation movement, Stonewall and the gay rights movement, great movies, great music. This is when the first Macintosh computer came out. The Awakening is a time of increasing individualism. This second turning, this awakening, ended with the re-election of Ronald Reagan in 1984. Things get messy during the third turning, during the unraveling. We got the fall of Soviet communism and the beginning of the Russian gangster state. The greatest musicians of the time sang about violence and decay in their deteriorating cities. The LA riots, OJ, the bombing of Bosnia, and the Columbine high school shootings on the same day. September 11th, the wars in Afghanistan and Iraq. Our unraveling ended with the financial crisis of 2008. A fascinating fact about this book is that it was written during the last third turning, published in 1997. But the book predicts now, what's happening now in this fourth turning. And what's happening now is right on schedule. "80 years ago, in the last fourth turning, America had her Great Depression, then World War II. 80 years before that, the Civil War. 80 years before that, the Revolutionary War. Now it's our turn to save the country." So where do you fit into all this? What's your role?
This book was written in 1997 to kind of give you an idea that this was something that's been around since the 90s.
It depends when you were born. Each generation, each cohort, tends to embody a specific archetype. An archetype that will move the society towards the next high. Each generation's archetype is the characteristic that will define the generation in its prime, in midlife. The boomer archetype is the prophet. Bill Gates and Steve Jobs are boomers and prophets. Both predicted that one day everyone, not just big corporations and governments, would own a computer. Gates even predicted a crisis like COVID-19 5 years beforehand. The writers of this book are boomers and prophets. Gen X is the nomad generation. The quintessential Gen Xer, Elon Musk, builds things that move us from one place to another. Rockets, electric cars, hyperloops, nomadic devices. But the millennials, raised during the unraveling, will emerge as the hero generation during this crisis. These are the Parkland High students, the frontline hospital workers, and Malala Yousafzai. The book says millennials will be the World War II heroes of our history block. We don't know what Gen Z will do, but they will be an artist generation. From them will emerge the next Bill Withers, Toni Morrison, or Bob Dylan, all born during the last crisis, all from an artist generation. The history block before ours ended with World War II and began with the Civil War, 80 years prior. The history block before that ended with the Civil War and began with the end of the Revolutionary War, 80 years prior. Every 80 years or so, something big comes along and changes everything. And now we're at the end of our history block, right in the middle of our crisis. We're in the process of changing our world again.
So there it is. What do you guys think? Now, you notice he said that within the different generation, I think my generation, it mentions that there are prophets or people that are predicting the future or seeing ahead. I think that's my generation. I think he mentioned something about Bill Gates predicting the COVID thing. Now, many of us that are, I will say, real woke, right, understand that sometimes these predictions are planned. So I wonder, is there now, is the powers that be, because these people that are the millionaires and billionaires and the super rich and the super elite, I'm pretty sure they have come across these books and come across this philosophy. And I wondered if they have used these cycle of every 80 years or 90 years, the lifespan of a man, right? I wonder, is there a thing that now they're looking at this and they're saying, you know what, we could take advantage of the cycle, or they understand the cycle and they're controlling that cycle. They're creating the crisis in the right time, and they're creating the boom of a new era, and so forth, so on. The lifespan of a man is usually the generation of that usually turns around. So by the time I pass away, that will be like the generation, right? And then there's another, generation will come after me, and so forth, so on. So I want to hear people's thoughts, because, there's nothing new under the sun. And how can we learn about that, right? What can we say about that? Let's go into some scriptures here, right? Because Solomon, the wisest man to ever live outside of Christ, of course. This is what he says, right? I'm in now verse 8 of chapter 1, Ecclesiastic. It says, all things are full of labor, man cannot order it. The eyes is not satisfied with seeing, nor the ear full with hearing. The thing that has been, it is that which shall be. And that which is done is that which shall be done. And there is no new thing under the sun. So here's King Solomon thousands of years ago, understanding the cycle of life, right? Verse 10, is there anything whereof it may be said, see, this is new. It has been already of old times, which was before us. There is no remembrance of former things, neither shall there be any remembrance of things that are to come, which those that shall come after. I, the preacher, was a king over Israel in Jerusalem. And I gave my heart to seek and search out by wisdom concerning all things that are done under heaven. This is sure travel which have God given to the sons of men to be executed therewith. Excuse me. I have seen all the works that are done under the sun, and behold, it is vanity and vexation of spirit. So Solomon studied. He studied and he looked at the cycle of man. And he realized there's nothing new under the sun. What has been, it has been before. So this book is not really bringing something out new, because Solomon understood this even 1,000 years ago, when he went and seek knowledge and understanding, and he realized that there's a cycle of life. I commend with my own heart, saying, Lo, I am come to great estate, and have gotten more wisdom than all they that have been before me in Jerusalem. Yea, my heart has great experience of wisdom and knowledge. Excuse me. And I have given my heart to and to know wisdom, and to know madness and folly. So he got into everything. And this is right. I love Ecclesiastes, because I believe Ecclesiastes is like Solomon realizing that all the wisdom that he was able to obtain was vanity. And I want to read the last chapter, because now he came to the conclusion of the whole matter. Right? Let's read. It says, verse 18, for in much wisdom is much grief, and he that increases knowledge increases sorrow. So Solomon got into, every book, every knowledge, every understanding, and he realized there's nothing new under the sun. One generation comes up, another generation goes down. There's nothing new under the sun. Let me see if I can find that scripture. When he says there's nothing new under the sun, goes down in haste to place the rose and the wind, the river, okay, blah, 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 labor of man, and so forth, so on. There's nothing new under the sun. Within, when I was coming up in this Israelite community, they took these scriptures of Solomon and mentioned that there's nothing new under the sun. See if there's nothing new under the sun. Anybody could say, or anybody that says, see, this is new. It has been done before. And that thing that has been, I think there's a scripture that says that thing that has been and the thing that is now is man, or something. I think it's in chapter 2 or chapter 3. I'll find it. And they took that as a reincarnation thing. Obviously, when you go into the scriptures, is appointed for man to live once in the judgment. And that scripture was more dealing with the cycle of man, not necessarily man himself coming back, 3 or 4 times and so forth, so on. But it's just the pattern of man. So now more than ever, we as a species, we can obtain data and almost predict the future to some degree, because A, we got the Bible, and B, now we got these books and these patterns that we could see. Okay, we have a pretty good idea what's going to happen, because there's nothing new under the sun. Train comes, the train goes, right? Music trends, dance trends, things just comes back and recycles, just resurface. There's nothing new under the sun. So what can we learn from this? What can we learn from this? I see I got a caller. Let me see if I can bring him in. Caller, call back. I think I missed it. Let me see. Caller, if you could call back, I appreciate it. I think I don't know what happened, but I want to hear your thoughts. But is there a situation that we can learn from these patterns? Is there a situation that we could say, okay, we got data now, right? We have data. I see Ruth Rodriguez. Let me see if I could bring them in on my end. Let me see if I could add them. Okay. Shout out to brother. Oops, sorry. If I don't put my phone. Shout out to brother I Am Daniel. Thank you for your donation. I appreciate you. Ruth Rodriguez, if you could call back, and I could bring you back in if so for so. If you guys calling from like a internet phone, sometimes that doesn't work. But try. But sometimes it gives issue. Try to call from a cell phone or a landline. All right, thank you, brother Daniel. I appreciate you, man, for you guys been always helping out and always bringing forth. You're showing some love, so I appreciate you, man. I appreciate you. So, can we learn from these patterns, right? Now, according to this pattern, usually the people around my generation are the prophets in regards to we're trying to predict the future, and that's kind of. I will have to agree with that because I'm always looking into preparing for the future. That's why I created Man Going God's Way, the organization. I know brothers, shout out to brother Amawan. He got some brothers he wants to come in for the next meeting. So the organization is growing. If you guys want to join, men's only. Okay. We're looking for particularly young men. But any race, any age, but we're targeting young men, older men, 15 and older. You're more than welcome. We could use your wisdom, but a lot of the target is to target these young men. So if you want to join Man Going God's Way, we're going to be having our second meeting actually, April 2nd. Okay, April 2nd. Oh, praises. So make sure if go down to your comment section and then you get the email. Man Going God's Way has all the information. You can send me an email and so forth. So make sure you leave your number because I want to talk to you first because there's certain requirements. You may not qualify right away, but then you could come back or we could work it out and things of that nature. And the reason why I wanted to start Man Going God's Way is because my generation always looked for the future according to this chart, according to this cycle, which I believe there is some legitimacy because this is dealing with examining history and look at the pattern of those history and what people do depending on what time of history they were born and how their personality operates. And the reason why I started Man Going God's Way is because I believe there's going to be a fall. And I believe that, a fall of society. And I believe churches are not addressing it. I believe they're talking about it, but they're not doing anything about it. My personal opinion. But I'm not saying not all, but generally speaking, I think right now it's time to build the men to protect their wives, their kids, and so forth, so on. So I want to target other men. And that's why I have this organization. But, the conversation that I want to have with the brothers is preparing. You got to be, spiritually grounded. We may have a different conversation about, worship and how we do it. And we may call upon different names and so forth, so on, because brothers are coming in from different walks of life. They're not all ex-GOCC members or members that left the church, or some of them are ex-GOCC members. Some of them are. This one from Israel United Christ, a brother who came in as well. You have another brother who's coming in from different, was never part of a camp. He was just wanted to join an organization. So, I'm preparing for the future. So it looks like, according to this chart, I'm doing what this chart is saying, my personality and my type, right? I think I'm Generation X, right? We'll be doing. And when you look at the fall of Rome and why it fell and it had to be re-examined, it's because people got comfortable. You know, it's an old saying, and I said it before, easy times makes hard man easy. Make easy time make hard man soft. Soft men make time hard. So that's why there is a level of responsibility for men to stay in shape, mentally equipped, deal with any trauma, and mentally get tough and endure and always challenge yourself. Never get complacent, never get lazy and say, hey, I'm good. I can't, I learn what I need to learn, or I achieve what I need to achieve. Men should always strive to get better, right? And that's what the organization is all about. So if people want to, have a conversation, the number is 267-358-0879. And you're more than welcome to call in and have a conversation. As a matter of fact, I'm also going to put the Zoom link as well into the chat. If people want to come in, just make sure you're respectful and you look decent and you're not laying in your bed, sit up, maybe you have a good lighting and stuff or so on. So I'm going to be adding the Zoom link. If you want to come in, you're more than welcome. Whether you agree or disagree, let's talk about it. Because, okay, here we go. Let me just put this. Brother Romeo, thank you, brother, for that support. I appreciate you, man. I appreciate you. You brothers are always showing me love, and I appreciate it, man. I appreciate it. Let me see there. So there's the Zoom. You guys are more than welcome to join and have a conversation. So it's extremely important to study history. Pick up a book, and learn how to. And let me read this comment real quick from Brother Romeo. It says, "Praise the Most High for getting this doctrine in order, elder." Okay. I appreciate you. Thank you. And we in the age, I believe, me personally, I'm in the, reestablishing or reshuffling all my beliefs and all my, even doctrinal beliefs. And that's the reason why, man going God's way. It's not a church. I want us to challenge each other biblically and scripturally. We may have a different point of view and so forth, so on, and that's okay. It's going to also show us to work together without being hanged up on doctrine. One thing that I realize is that these Israelite churches are keeping the African American Latino community to some degree back. And I think partially to blame are the leaders. The leaders have too much ego and either they feel threatened or what have you by coming together and have a conversation. Shout out to Brother Newbury. I know he's overseas now. He's down with this organization called the Nation of Israel. I'm working with them and so forth, so on, and we're working together. But he wants to build nation. And the concept of this organization is building nation. So I think he's in Liberia, and I think what they're doing, they're negotiating with the Liberian country to recognize the children of Israel as a actual nationality or state or separate, sovereign stuff or so on. And I believe that that the only way we could achieve that, we have to compromise with doctrine. We have to compromise with the name. We have to compromise with the calendar. We have to compromise with in the sense that we have to come together and come with a resolution, right? And the things that we don't agree, right? We could work that out later, right? But I think there has to be some compromise. Like, I call upon the name of Ahia. But other brothers may call the name Yahweh or Yahweh or Yah, and so for someone, we have to start respecting other people's point of view. I understand that we have to separate the Church of Christ, which is without spot, without wrinkle, one church, one doctrine, one baptism, and I'm not ignoring that. Okay, let's see. We got a number from 443. Let's see if we can bring them in. Put in, okay, right here. See if I can merge this call. Let's see. Peace and blessings. You on the air?
Hello? Here right now?
Yes, you live. How we doing? What you got to add to this conversation?
Okay, so we're talking about what's the topic we're talking about?
The topic that we're talking about is I saw a video earlier, I don't know if you saw it, that society goes through a cycle between 80 to 100 years it's a different cycle of good times, right? And then the next cycle is, everything's optimistic, everything is great. And the second cycle is discovery, experimenting, and new a new, what you call it, new discovery. The third will be people asking questions and people now bucking against authority, and this is when you got the revolution and things of that nature. And then the last part is the crisis, when everything collapsed. And I believe that we in that the crisis. So what say you about that cycle?
Yeah.
Do you agree with it? And things of that nature.
Wait. Have you seen the video of 6ix9ine getting jumped? Because I feel like it's for the Latino community to know about this.
Okay. So what happened with
the video?
I seen the video. I know he was in
LA Fitness.
LA Fitness, and there was some guys, they jumped him. So I do remember seeing that. So what do you think you got to add to this in regards of the conversation?
Yeah. I feel like it's a bunch of racism nowadays.
Okay.
Like a bunch of racism nowadays, and like this needs to stop. Like, why did I think they jumped 6ix9ine because he was like a part of the Latino community?
Now, do you know who jumped him? Because from my understanding, I thought that there were some other Latinos, that there was some guy where, the racial background of the guys who jumped him. Do you know?
Yeah, I think the people who jumped him were niggers.
Well, isn't that a little racist by using that words?
Oh, nah, because we're black.
Okay. All
We're
right.
Dominican.
Oh, so you're Dominican. So I see.
I'm light skinned.
I'm sorry?
Yeah. I'm light skinned.
You're light-skinned Dominican.
No, yeah. Well,
Okay.
Yeah, basically.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So, I didn't follow it, but from my understanding is he made from my understanding, there was some Latinos jumping him. There was a guy, because I saw he was on the floor, and the guy looked like a Latino. I could be wrong, and I thought they jumped him because he said something negative about, I think, Puerto Ricans or something, or he said something about Latinos or something, or
Yeah.
Apparently, he was talking a lot of shit
About niggers.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, okay, but listen. Me personally, I think all of that is a distraction, man. I think
Wait.
I think all of that is, listen, he's a young kid running around saying a lot of things, and things are gonna happen if you put yourself out there. he's a celebrity. He was in, LA Fitness by himself, no bodyguard. When you're in that position and you're polarizing, things are going to happen. So, this is the whole thing, man. I think instead of saying, getting caught up with, us Latinos, we're getting this, we're getting that. The question I'm asking, what are Latinos are doing? And what are Latinos doing to better the situation? Because, I'm hearing a lot of background, bro. If you're calling the show, whatever, you got stuff in the back, you got to shut that down, Papa, okay?
I hate niggas. Fuck nigger.
All right. The young people. Well, so he will be what? The millennials? What? You damn millennials. You just want to play around and have a good time and but I don't know. It's one of this thing. But this is my beef with Latinos, and I'm Latino. We're 20% of the population. We're the oldest ethnic group in America. Why we just, we're complaining, Hollywood, I think like less than 1% of Latinos are like in lead roles. We're not getting any representation. Well, come together, Latinos, and start building your own network. I'm no longer in the place of complaining what we're not getting or what we, deserve and what we not, what we're supposed to be getting. It's time for us to do for ourselves. It's time for us to do for ourselves. So, Cash 9, whatever his name is, it's I think all of that is a waste of time, right? And so forth, so on. Okay, but for me, I'm gonna be 51 in a few months. The last rapper for me, of any significant, was like 50 Cent out of New York. After that, it just got weird for me. So it's not one of those things that I follow, right? That's my previous generation. That's probably my daughter's generation, right? But or the next generation, not the previous, the generation in front of me. But let's talk about this. Right? Let's have a conversation about these cycles. What can we learn from these cycles? What can we understand from these cycles? Right? If according to this theory, we're about to go into the collapse. And right after the collapse, a new era comes in of good and things of that nature. So this is the reason why we have to stop with the playing around, right? Stop with the playing around and start getting serious. And one thing I realized about young people, and this is the reason why I want to attack young people, and I want to deal with young people, is because the young man that call in. I mean, he probably called in to joke around. He's probably taking life not too seriously. He doesn't have respect for older men. I'm probably old enough to be his father, right? And we have to bring those principles, and I think that's being lost. Because guys, and especially now with social media and people, people become so brave when they behind a phone call, they're 1,000 miles away and things of that nature. It's just pathetic and sad. And this is the reason why there needs to be an effort for guys around my age to teach the younger generation. It's time, because I'm not going to be here forever. Right. And I think the problem, especially within the Israelite community, the Pentecostal get caught up with that, but not anymore as much. I don't know. But they're always dealing with the end of the world is any day now. Every generation believes that their generation is the one that the end is coming. And then what happened is that when we feel the end is coming, we don't prepare. Because we get caught up with looking for every single prophecy and trying to fit everything that happens into a prophecy scenario, right? And when you look at the nations and especially the people that are the super rich and so forth, so on, they plan 2, 3, 4, 5 generations ahead. They plan for their grandkids. And that's all we have to start doing. And we have to start knowing or operating twofold. We have to be ready if Christ comes next week, or he comes in the next, 7 years or 49 years or 700 years. We have to be ready for both. I think the Israelite community, the Christian community is focused too much on waiting for the prophecy or looking for the prophecy to justify or legitimize their belief that Christ is coming anywhere. And a lot of people sometimes are attracted to these prophecies because they don't like their life. They don't like their existence. So they want this world to end anyway because they don't like their existence. They live a miserable life. So this thing about the society is going to collapse or Christ is going to come or there's going to be a great judgment, for them is some attraction there because, there's nothing going on with them. They live, they're not happy in their conditions. Like, I think that's the reason why part of the attraction when, I was with GOCC back in the days when we first started, when people were leaving and the elders were overseas, we attracted people that were not happy with their existence. They were ready to go. I mean, people were coming into church with the luggage already packed, ready to go. I'm being funny, but they was always in that mindset. And I think it came because they always feel, and especially people of color, we feel this is not our country. This is not we don't control our destiny here. We're looking for an escape. And I think now it's not time to escape. I think it's time to plan. It's time for us to come together and do something. And that's why man going God's way should be a thing that, even this young man who called earlier with the joking around, I had to hang up on him. Guys like that, they need structure. They need somebody, a big brother, a father figure to say, listen, idiot, get your butt to work, get your back to school, hit the gym, stop being an idiot, stop wasting your time and talking about, know how to speak without every 5 minutes you have to curse and all that things of that nature, right? When you speak, get your facts right. Young people today is just focused too much on the fun and having a good time and so forth, so on. And I get that. I regret not doing a lot more in my 20s. If I knew then what I know now, forget about it, right? Let's say tomorrow you wake up and you're 20 years old again. With the knowledge you have now, all the mistakes you did, you would have done different. You would have done things better. You would have prepared, right? But that spilled milk. We can't talk about it right now. We got to only looking for the future. But you young people, guys, trust me, you're wasting your time and just joking around and going through your life, saying I'm young, I got all the time in the world. Times are going quick. It's going quick. It's every 5 minutes you wake up and like, wait a minute, is this 2023? It was 2024, 2 days ago. So let's talk about it. People want to call in or Zoom in, you're more than welcome. And if the collapse happens, I know I'm not ready. I got to be honest with you. There's certain things that, to be honest with you, when I was with the church for 12 years, there was a lot of things I should have been preparing yeah, we got the food and we got the protection and blah, blah, blah. And, we got, things hit, we could survive for 6 months, but after 6 months, what else, right? That's why I'm big in people having the ability to grow their own food, make their own clothes, protect their own self without, anybody's help, and gather with like-minded people and find your wolf pack. That's very important. Find your team. Find the people you could trust. And you should make sure that you have within your team different personalities. I think on my previous channel before it got canceled, I did a conversation about the 4 personality types that every person should have around them for success. And we're going to be probably talking about that. We're going to be probably having that conversation. And I forgot, I'll get back to it in regards of in the future show. But there's nothing new in the sun, folks. We've been here before. And when you look at history, every history feels that they're the history, they're the people, so forth, so on. What would you do if you know that Christ in the end of this world, this age, will not come for another 200 years? Well, you do, and you know that for sure. Would that change your mind? Would that give you the ability to do things that you want to do because you have time? Would that get you relaxed and be like, hey, I'll wait for the last 12 years and I can start getting ready? I don't know, because when I did the calculation, according to biblical principles, those that believe in the Bible, if you believe in evolution, good luck with that. But God gave men 6,000 years from our studies. So therefore, we in the year 5,000. I think we are under. Let's see, 6,000. Let me look at the numbers here. And Dave, I'm going to call you if I know we have some videos. Also, I want you guys to give you an update on the video. Let me see here. The protest that we did. Several magazines did a story on us. Let me email this to myself to give you the ability to actually see it. Rolling Stone did an article. So the plot thickens in regards of this Africa Bambaataa fiasco, Zulu Nation. So those that were there and those that were there in spirit, we do appreciate your support. The video is going to come out soon. Some people already posted, but it's let's put this here. Okay, let me do this. Do this. Here we go. Okay. All right. Let me put the. So this is us right here. Where are we? There we go. Let me take this out. So this is us right here. Africa Bambaataa abuses allegations cast a cloud over the Universal Hip Hop Museum. Okay, that's us right there. I'm right there next to the doctor. The lady who's right next to me, she is an expert in pedophilia, and I spoke to her, and in regards of, let me see if I can put this a little bigger. Perfect. Let me do this. Okay, that's Layla Wills. Is this the doctor? I forget her name. So we were there. We were, a good, I would say about 20 people. Some people began to stop and ask questions and so forth, so on. So we got to put pressure, because the main thing that we need to focus on is changing the laws. And when I spoke to the doctor, hold on, wait, what just happened? Okay, yeah, all right. When I spoke to the doctor, and I asked her, what is the pushback in putting and not having term of limitations for these pedophiles. You have until you're 23 to file, 5 years after your 18th birthday. And what she said is that this is what she said from her research and from what she understands is that the lobbyists are pushing back. And I asked, well, who are the lobbyists? Well, insurance company, and also the Catholic Church has a lot of pull in regards of these things. So New York, the super rich and the super powerful, those that have money and influence and are pedophile, are paying lobbyists to keep the laws as it is. And that's what we have to fight that. And we have to, I'm going to go visit Ruben Diaz. We used to work together, not work together, but I know the young man, and I believe, is a chairman of the Universal Hip Hop Museum. Brother Rocky Borcano, he's the president or the face for this thing, and we believe he's been compromised by Africa Bambaataa and the Zulu Nation. Africa Bambaataa is one of the founders. They removed him in 2016 with all these allegations, but we got receipts that the Zulu Nation is using the museum and the organization, or they have a community center. They've been throwing parties and things of that nature, and that's how these pedophiles operate. They operate with, hey, let's throw parties for the kids. They usually do good for the community to gain the trust of the community, for they could have access to these kids. And I think Rocky is not a man that understands the nature of pedophiles, and I think he's been compromised. And that's why we need somebody new, or we need other people there that do understand the nature of pedophiles. And to protect the children from these pedophiles. There's too much receipt, there's too much information to just ignore this. So shout out to all the brothers and sisters that were there. We wish it could have been a bigger turnout, but it is what it is. We got to put in that smoke. And, the next conversation I had with Layla was that we have to start to pass these laws, because that's ultimately what, we need an open scenario that anybody could press charges, criminal charges. Now you got the civil, and there is a civil case right now pending Africa Bambaataa and the Zulu Nation right now, and they need to respond and things of that nature. But we need to bring criminal charges. Okay, and so shout out to all the people that were there, Layla Wilson, and all the great warriors fighting for justice. It's important to get involved, guys. Want to get involved, okay, and network, because you don't know who you meet and what could lead. These connections could lead you to a different place, and more importantly, changes could be made. You just need to make enough noise, and enough, and speak to the right people at the right time. There is a bill on the floor, and the next protest is gonna be in Albany to make sure that bill passes, that would open would get rid of the term of limitation for the criminal charges. Okay, so it's extremely important, and which I didn't know, there's different levels. There is certain pedophilia acts that are misdemeanors, and there's certain pedophilia acts that is a felony. I believe all of these should be a felony, okay? But I believe there is some circumstances that there's no term limits on. If you are a child, you've been raped, and you could prove it, that the person violated with a felony act, and we're gonna get into that for to educate everybody and so forth, so on. But I believe all of it should be a felony. If you touch kids in any way, shape, or form, should be a felony crime. So shout out to the people that were there. I met some new brothers. I met some brothers from the Zulu, because you got I think there was like some brothers from some chapters that broke away from the Zulu Nation and started their own version of it, or a separate, I forgot what, Universal Hip Hop Nation or something like that. And so I may have the brothers come on the show in a few weeks and see what he was doing. The brothers are Christians, so he wants to expose this and so forth, so on. And so it's the old heads of the Zulu Nation is the problem, not the new heads, and so forth, so on. You know, and so shout out to all the people that were there. And shout out to my brother. He was there. He was recording. Dave, I'm going to be calling you. I know you text me, but I was getting ready for the show, so I'll be calling you either tomorrow or later on today. So let's talk about it, guys. Let's talk about it. Are we in the middle of the crisis? Now, each crisis or each stage lasts between 20 to 25 years. So according to this pattern, each stage lasts 20 years or 20 to 25 years. So are we in year 1, year 2, year 3? Okay, we don't know. It has started in the COVID with COVID-19 or 20, right? Are we in year 2? I don't know. If things are going to get worse from here. And if we're in that 20-year crisis collapse stage, right, if society is going to reestablish itself. We see these, you know, a lot of kids are being pulled out of school by their parents because of this LGBTQ, you know, plus overly sexualizing, you know, and exposing sex to these kids. And I don't understand these transgender in regards, like, if you want to promote transgender, shouldn't you like show your best self? Why you always have to do a burlesque in front of these kids? Like, if that's all you could offer, do you have a brain? Do you have, you know, usually when you want to present something in a positive light, you want to show, okay, this transgender did this transgender did that, and because there's some, I think there's in Chicago, not Chicago, in Philadelphia, there's the first transgender, I think, not mayor or general, something general. I forgot what the title, but why not promote that? And you would think they would promote that, but they're promoting these burlesque strip shows. I don't get it. And that's the reason why society is going to collapse, because society is becoming weird, rude, obnoxious. It's insane. I mean, I don't know if you guys heard the shooting. There was a shooting of a private Christian school, and a transgender went in there and I think shot up the school. I think 3 kids got killed. They got killed eventually. It was I believe a man transitioning into a woman, or a woman transitioning into a man. I forget. But now we're seeing what's happening. And that these shootings are not only happening from the people from of the left. I mean, of the right. It's not usually this, you know, right wing Republican or far right and so forth, so on. I see somebody within Zoom. I believe they're in. Are they in? Let me see if I could get them. Peace and blessings. You there? Can you hear me?
Okay.
Hello, can you hear me? Khan. Who's this? Brother David?
Yes, this Brother David. Hey, how you doing?
Good. Shalom. So what you got to add to this conversation? You want to turn your camera, or you just want to speak?
Oh, I just want to speak this evening.
Okay.
That's fine.
So what you got to add to this conversation?
I was tuning into the conversation, and I totally agree with everything you're saying. When we go back throughout history, we always see a collapse. The collapse is always usually during the time of like entertainment prosperity. So we know during the Roman period, the great games were going on, and during that same time that the entertainment was at its height, the people were blinded from seeing what was really going on. Most of the people, I say. And you were speaking earlier, and you was like, we usually have a 20-year window.
Yes.
And my mind went back to the 2008 collapse. And I'm only 31, but my mind went back to the 2008 collapse, and I asked her for whatever reason. I said, what if that was the start of the collapse? If that made sense.
So if it started in 2008, we're in 2023. That's 18. That's 10 years. That would be 20. I mean, that would be, what is that? 18 to 23.
Yeah.
14 years? 14, yep. 15 years in?
14, 15 years now.
Okay, so if that's the case, that's good news, because then we have another 5 or 6 years left.
Right.
Right? Or the collapse started during the time of COVID. I don't know. Right?
Got you.
I don't know. What do you think? Because I lived through 2008. I was not affected at all. Right? And
right.
maybe, these collapse usually only affect, or 2008 only affect the super rich, right?
Got you.
But the average Joe wasn't affected, right?
I would say 2008, and I'm sorry to cut you off.
No, go ahead. No, you were saying 2008 because?
2008, I remember, well, I'm living out here in Atlanta, and 2008, I was in high school, but I remember that was the year that my mom, she got laid off from her job that she had been in for 10 plus years.
Okay.
She had been at that job. She had got laid off. A lot of people was getting laid off from that job, and it was a DHL at the time.
Yeah.
Or it's DHL now. It was under another name at that time. But they were going through some hardships at that time.
Right.
And it was a lot of layoffs. I remember that's when it was a lot of mortgage issues. Like I said, down here in Atlanta, I can't speak for everywhere else.
Yeah.
But I just remember a lot of people was having issues paying mortgages and everything, and they had I just speak specifically for my mom, people that we know, they had to get their houses almost remortgaged and get the payments all the way down,
right,
just to be able to make the mortgage. So that's the only reason why I said that 2008 period, because when you said that 20-year period, I'm like, what if everything that's happening right now, even with all the storms that's happening, we know the Most High, he's doing everything in his timing, but it's almost like, and it's just a question, just for the conversation.
Yeah.
What if all these things are happening, and because we are almost reaching that height of that crisis or that collapse, I would say.
Right, because if you look at the scriptures, right, in regards of when the disciples asked Christ, what is the end, when is your return, and what is the end of the age, right? And he goes into that you'll be, hated for all nations. You'll be, and the Israelite community is hated,
yeah.
And a lot of it is our fault because we have bad representation in our community, my personal opinion. But, and the scripture says that, that you're going to be hated. Some of you are going to get killed. You're going to be sent into all nations, and you will speak to different kings, and you'll be get kicked out of the synagogues and get into prison and so forth, so on. That looks like a real collapse, right? So
yeah,
that's why I'm wondering, and I wonder, is there a different cycle depending on, like, is there an economic cycle? Is there a religious or a spiritual cycle that we have to look at? Because they only look at it from an economic perspective, right?
Right.
But is there a cycle within Christendom that we need to also acknowledge? Like, I remember I read a book years ago that in the year 1000, many Christians thought that the end of the world was coming. Like, every time there's a new millennium, people feel, the end of the world. Like, I don't know if you remember Y2K, in the year 2000. Yeah. There was a big talk about, like, it's going to collapse. So do us Christians, do we also go through this cycle as well?
Got you.
I'm just curious.
That would make sense. That would definitely make sense.
Yeah.
Because I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, finish your thought.
Yeah, no, that would even make sense. Even if we're tying in the way that everything has a cycle, one thing may go in one, and then the other one go in another, and then there's another one. Just the same as right now, we're in the States, and we're going into spring and summer, and then you got over in Africa, Australia, and certain places on that side of the coast, they're going into fall and winter.
Right.
So it's like we're definitely in different. We're definitely going different cycles. So
Yeah.
that would be an interesting thought to keep.
Absolutely, because let me see here. Let me put this. What's going on? Okay.
Oh.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. I'm sorry. I want to just, fix my chat. But absolutely, man. So you're 30 years old. What do you see? What is your plan for the next 10 years? Are you still trying to figure things out? Where are you mentally? Because I always like to ask people that are younger than me and also older than me. That's why I always recommend people should have friends that are 10 years younger and also 10 years older to get a different perspective. So as a 30-year-old man, what are you doing? How you see the world, and what is your concern as a 30-year-old man?
Right now, of course, everything starts with our Creator. Everything starts with our Heavenly Father, and it starts with the Most High. So, my biggest thing right now is for the past 7 years, I've been locking in with Him, but now it's like I have to lock in with Him even more. I definitely right now I have some family laying down here in Atlanta, and I'm doing we're already working on exactly what you're saying, unifying with brothers. And my thing is, I'm unifying with brothers, and I'm looking more at the spirit. I'm trying to make sure that the Father is I can see that scripture in Kings where he said, "Is your heart right? It's my heart. If that be so, give me your hand."
Yeah.
You know, and that's what I'm looking at in brothers. You know, it would seem lovely if everything fit where we said the same name, where we was on the same calendar.
Yeah.
But those things, personally laid those things aside, because when you were talking about the Enoch calendar, I agreed. I was like, man, what if we're all wrong? But the thought also came, hey, what if you all are going to get right when you all unify and get together, and one guy got the one piece and one guy got the other? So me being at 30 right now, I'm growing. I'm starting to grow my own food. I just got into a trade, carpentry. I'm getting into plumbing next, and I've been encouraging everybody from 21 years old that I know to older than me. I'm encouraging everybody, hey, we all need to learn different trades. So once we, if the Father allows us to get on this land that I'm prepping for us, we all need to be able to we need to be able to offer something different, but every man needs at least one trade, you know?
Yeah, and absolutely. I mean, that's one of the requirements of men going God's way. You have to learn a trade. You have to be physically fit. You have to be mentally ready, physically ready. You know, and you have to be able to sustain yourself if need be. So you're in the right path, man. You're in the right path. You know, is that land that you have, is you inherited, or you purchased it? Okay.
Yeah, inherited.
Yeah.
So all praise to the Most High, it was inherited.
Don't let that go. Make sure you have all the paperwork. Make sure you pay your taxes on it if there's any taxes on it. And, you know, just, you know, because sometimes, my personal opinion, people of color, we sell things and we don't keep things within our family for our children to inherit it. You know, and so make sure if you're blessed that you were able to inherit some land, make sure you keep it. Make sure you know, and network with people that are like-minded, but protect your land. Make sure the paperwork is on point. You own everything. There's no back, you know, taxes that you got to owe, because they could take away your land. And, you know, if the taxes get a little you know, high and things of that nature. But yeah, good for you, man. That's important. You know, you're in the right track. You're in the right track. You know, what you want to do is how big is the acre, or how many acres?
It's about 15, a little bit over 15.
That's nice. That's nice. That's real nice. That's real nice. You know, yeah, that's real nice. Yeah. But you know, maybe you could reach out to me and we could talk behind the scenes. I could give you some ideas and how you could, you know, make some money off the land. A lot of people, what I recommend is I don't know if you could hunt there, or you could do RV or camping, but you could start a little humble resort and so forth, so on. Make sure your credit is right. Make sure because that's good credit. It makes you could purchase anything. You get a loan and so forth, so on. So you're in the right path. You're in the right state of mind, and this is what we want to talk about because I think it's time for us to get out of these not get out of these churches, but not focus too much in church and start focusing and building and establishing a real sustainable scenario. So good for you, brother. So what is your plan for the next 5 years?
If the Most High allows me to see that, of course, like I said, starting to grow things on the homestead, building, continue to add in traits to myself, but also going out and not just focusing on what I have in front of me, but going to go help other brothers and sisters, grabbing these traits and going out and, hey, even if a brother or sister got a half an acre, whatever I'm lending my hands, I'm lending my time. And that's where I see about the next 5 years, because I see a shift. It's like although everything is falling, we rising at the same time, so to me, I used to live in the days when I first came into the walk, where everything I kept saying can't, I can't do this, I can't do that. But then I remember the Messiah said, with God all things are possible.
Yeah.
So that changed my whole mind, where I was like, whoa, I can do anything. Yeah. And then Paul said all things are lawful, but not all things are beneficial. And then I said, whoa, okay. So I can conquer anything that I truly want as long as I'm with the Most High, so the next 5 years, I see it more like an opportunity. It's like, hey, if we are building our own right now, and that's what I'm focused on, let me help other brothers and sisters build, because we may potentially be the next network,
Right, because you're the generation that is going to get us out of this hellhole, according to the cycle. Because my generation, we're getting older. We got the wisdom, but you guys have the youth and the energy to do these things. So that's why it's important for the youth to respect the generation prior, learn from the generation prior.
Yes.
You don't have to do exactly how we do it, but bounce off of us, right? Ideas and so forth, so on. Sometimes if you are bouncing ideas from people that are on your age or younger, they're going to probably give you the same type of answers and resolve that you will have, because they're trying to figure out things too. So try to get older people around you that you could gain wisdom from. You don't have to do it the way they do it, but at least you could bounce from there. You have a foundation and so forth, so on. And I want to set out to Legit 1611. It says, Elder Gabar, like I said, I have a video on my channel that clarify and explain the missing pieces of the Enoch calendar. Legit, put the channel, if you could put the channel on the comment section, or send me an email, we could talk about it and so forth, so on. Because that's one of the things that I believe that we need to discuss in regards to the calendar, because there's always been debate whether, Enoch calendar, whether there's division within the Enoch calendar when it started. There's division within the lunar calendar when it started as well. So we're not all monolith, but I think if we could just figure out one calendar and figure it out from this perspective, which calendar is the simplest to follow and which calendar makes more sense, trying to figure out which calendar God wanted us to follow. It says, I will send you an email. Okay. All right, brother. I appreciate it. Yeah, we could talk. Because I've been studying the calendars, and this calendar question is not a new problem. There were beef about the calendar even during the time of Christ. Scholars said at one point there was like about 3 calendars, because whoever controls the calendar controls the feast days. Whoever controls the feast days controls the people. So it's very important for us to unify in regards to at least the calendar. We could talk about the name and this and that, but I think if we could, all the camps come up with a resolution that makes sense. And I think we have to look at it, which is the simplest one to follow, just where we could stay on the season, and also easy to follow every year. A lot of people say, well, Gabar, the lunar calendar is easy to follow, or you got to follow the phases of the moon. But I tried that for a month without using my phone or any apps. It's extremely hard because some nights the moon doesn't even show up.
Yeah, and what depending on what area you're in, if you don't have a phone to speak to someone else, then what if it's cloudy in your area?
Exactly.
And
yeah.
You cited the third day, but now you're calling it the first day.
Right. And really, the true calendar is in Jerusalem. Whatever calendar you got to follow within the timeline of Jerusalem, and then the world will follow that timeline because the Jerusalem is the navel of the earth, according to the Book of Jubilee. Right. So that's another thing too. We don't have a home base in Israel as a timekeeper and so forth, so on. So we have to come up with a practical perspective. Me personally, I believe that the best way to deal with it is deal with the Enoch calendar because it breaks down into the 7. And I believe the best way to stay within the season is add a week every 7th year, and then add 2 weeks every 50th year. You got every 7th year is a Jubilee, every 49th year or 50 years is also a Jubilee, 7 times 7. And I did the calculation. It's very simple to follow, and you don't get off season. But I like the Enoch calendar. I just like it. I don't know what it is. I think the lunar calendar is just too complicated, and especially if you're not going to be using these. Let's say the society collapse, you won't be able to figure that out. Dealing with the lunar because the moon is like a woman. It's unreliable. She's all over the place.
I have a question then.
Yeah. Yes.
So let's say we're respecting all brothers' belief in a sense, right?
Yeah.
And we say, hey, we're gonna go with the Enoch calendar. We're gonna start here. We're gonna stay in this cycle. But it's some brothers that's like, hey, well, we can't ignore that the scriptures say that so many places speak about the new moon.
Yes.
Well, we say, okay, well, we will still honor the new moon as not necessarily. We'll honor it as the things that the scriptures say. We'll blow the trumpet on the new moon. We'll set aside that day as a day of worship, or
Yeah, I mean, it's not going to be a monolith. It's not going to be, I believe that there is power in having a central calendar.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm open to hear something that makes sense in regards of the lunar calendar or what have you, but it has to make sense from a perspective that we could follow it without using computers and the naval, observing scenario, so forth, so on. And so, I'm open, but I'm also open if we could have, people follow their own version of calendar, and we put that aside until we figure it out.
Mm-hmm.
Or everybody will follow their own calendar and so forth, so on, or because a lot of it, if we would be the calendar that I think is best, and I did the calculation. If you go to if you go to the year 2020 and you start now, the Passover will land on April 1st, according to my calculation. If we will use the calendar that I think is best, if you add a week every 7th year, because it's a thing that every the problem with the Enoch calendar is that we're losing a day every year and 2 days every leap year, because the cycle of the sun goes 365 every year, and every 4th year it goes 366. So we're losing time, and eventually, I believe in 3 years we're gonna have, if you keep the Enoch calendar as it is, with GOCC, and shout out to them. I know they just finished having their Passover. They're gonna have, I think in 3 years, they're gonna have New Year's in February 28th or 29th.
Right.
And eventually it just gets worse from there because it's eventually, and after that, in 15 years, we're going to be having the Passover in early March, late February. And then so we'll start getting off season. And if you keep going, eventually you end up having the feast days and during the winter and so forth, so on. So I think adding that 7th week on the every year, it will keep us in line. I think we have a brother, a caller. Let's see if we can bring him in. Peace. Who's calling? Hello.
This is Logic 1611. Shalom.
Hey, Jalil. How we doing,
Lamar.
brother? How we doing, sir? How we doing? So, yeah, the calendar. You said you have a channel. I don't know if you put it on the thing, but you said you're gonna send me an email, correct?
Yes, it's on my actual YouTube channel, Logic 1611. But I was just going to answer that question right now. So,
Yeah. So
first and foremost, to the brothers that follow the moon, they have to understand that term moon means new month. But they have to look further into it. Also, that the Enoch calendar is correct. However, the brothers, no disrespect, but the brothers at GOCC, what happened, they missed what's called the year of release. All right. And that release comes around every 6 years. So next year, it resets. And then for 6 years, that calendar is going to be correct. All right. Now, for anyone in the chat questioning the Enoch calendar or the 364 days, it's really simple. Enoch in the Book of Jubilee says 364, but for those who don't follow that, like in the camps or what have you, they follow in America what's called a sidereal day. That's 23 hours, 56 minutes, 4 seconds. If you take 23 hours, 56 minutes, and 4 seconds and multiply it times 365, it comes out to 364 days.
Okay.
All right. I put all this in the video. And the reason I became such a scholar on the calendar is because many, many years ago, I was following a calendar, and then another ministry had started their calendar on a different day.
Okay.
And then in the middle of the year, they ended up having a feast day on the same day. And I said, okay, well, how can they start on 2 different times but land on a same day? And that's how I kind of got into looking into it for myself.
Okay.
All right. Now, for the Wednesday brothers, a lot of brothers come in, oh, no, it starts on Wednesday, not Sunday. Okay. Well, when you go into the Gospel of Peter, it clearly outlines, because they'll say Christ, the Passover was on a Wednesday because that's when Christ died. But he did not die on a Wednesday. He was crucified on Friday.
Yeah.
And all this is revealed in the Gospel of Peter.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
So brothers, and I put all this information in the video, and the video is only like 1 hour long. But it clearly shows what happens is there's a moving day. People will say, well, why does the day fall back? Okay, well, we understand that through the Gregorian calendar, they add a day every year, right? Which causes the 364-day calendar to continually fall back by 1 day.
Yeah.
Therefore, after 4 years, you'll be behind 5 days because of the 4 days they added and leap year.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
But that's why the calendar continually seems like it falls back. But utilizing the year release, which is discussed in Leviticus, because we release our debts every 7 years. We came out of Egypt. That was our year of release. And then our debts are canceled every 7 years. We are told to free our servants every 7 years. All this is in the scripture. This is in the Torah, right? But a lot of people overlook what's called that year of release.
Yeah.
Right. But that same year of release is also the year of the reset, which you will see next year. How do we know this? We have to see this physically. In the video, I actually physically show it utilizing timeanddate.com, calendar365.com. Okay. But when we go in and actually look at it, you can pull it up right now live. So the fans or the people can see it. But you're going to see that next year, that even parts night, even parts day falls on a Sabbath, meaning then your next day or your new year would then start on first day. However, if that even part night and even parts day falls before Sabbath, it always falls back to the prior Sunday or that first day.
Okay.
Why? Because if not, you will have new people coming in every day, every month, and every year, and they will all be on a different time because that March 16th and 17th day, it moves. Only thing you have to do is say, okay, Google, when did March 17th happen in 2019, 2020, 2021, so on and so forth. You're then going to get, once you get to that date, you go and check timeanddate.com and see when that sunset, the even parts night, even parts day was.
Yeah.
That day rotates. And when it rotates back over to the Sabbath, which is every 6 years, that's when your reset happens. We work 6 days, we rest, or we release on the 7th. Just like the year release is explained in the KJV or whatever translation people like to use.
Yeah.
I use the Hebrew Israelite scriptures. But I'm sorry, I'm talking kind of fast, but
No.
just to slow it down one more time for the people, there are only 364 days in a year. Even on your American calendar, when you take the 23 hours, 56 minutes, and 4 seconds that they operate off of, and you multiply it times their 365, it comes out to 364. I challenge anyone in the chat or listening at this time to do that right now. All right. Now, our scriptural calendar, based on what Christ said, because we also have to have a reference from the 66 books.
Yeah.
Based on what Christ said, he says, are there not 12 hours in a day?
Yeah.
So that's 12 hours day, 12 hours night. He did not say, are there not 11 hours and 58 minutes in a day? Because what the heathen do, they steal 3 minutes and 56 seconds from each day. And by the time you get to the 364th day, it equals out to 24 hours. That is the missing day. That's why when you go to the NASA website or what have you, they'll tell you they operate off of what's GMST. That's Greenwich Mean Sidereal Time. All right. But we're supposed to operate off of 12 hours night, 12 hours day. And we follow what it says in, we see this in Enoch. And we also, for those that don't like Enoch, we see in Jubilees, it also tells us there are 364 days in a year. Now, when we also go into Jubilees, for the brothers that get all over the place, because you got some of our brothers and sisters, unfortunately, they think that March 20th is the equinox, because that is the equinox that they put out into the scientific community.
Okay.
But National Geographic in 2012 put out an article stating that the equinox always comes in a few days earlier, hence March 16th and 17th. I actually have that in the video as well.
I heard that as well. I heard that as well. There's always a debate. I read a certain website that says March 20th to 21st. There's some website that says 17, the 16th. And I also did some research on, is there a connection between St. Patrick's Day and the equinox? Because I read somewhere that there's some connection. That's, that because it lands every year on March 17, St. Patrick's Day. If there's a connection that you came across that?
Not necessarily because of St. Patrick's Day, but what those dates are, like when we get into like the what they call the satanic holidays, such as St. Patrick's Day, Easter, Valentine's Day, all those things.
Right.
What that does, Elder, it allows us to see how, if our calendar is off, because you got some brothers and sisters who are celebrating unleavened bread on, on April Fool's Day or something like that, right? Or they'll celebrate on St. Patrick's Day, right? And no disrespect, like I said, no disrespect to the the elders over at GOCC, but they missed that year of release, and the reason they may have missed that year of release is because they're very busy and they got caught up in the momentum of producing the calendar for the brothers and sisters.
Yeah.
So the brothers and sisters see that and they say, okay, well, next year is going to be this, and next year, no, it's not always so.
Yeah.
Now, when I get a chance, I'll email you. Or I don't know if my phone number popped up, but this is my phone number, and
Okay.
I will literally walk you through it on screen. But when you go, say for example, you can go to Google and just pull up, 5 tabs, and you'll see each individual year when that date falls. After you see when that date falls, you then go and check what time was sunset on each one of those different days.
Okay.
All right.
Okay.
Because that even parts night, even parts day moves. That's why the first day brothers and sisters bump heads with the Wednesday brothers and sisters, because when it rotates around to where it's their time, where it's closer to Wednesday, they say, see, we told you this is when the equinox is.
Yeah.
And that is not so. That date continually moves.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Now, for the brothers and sisters that are listening about the Wednesday situation, understand that the Most High, He created, He said, "Let there be light," and started creation on first day.
Okay.
So thereby, the first day of the month, the first day of any week, and the first day of any year will always begin on first day. Anything alternating from that is a deviation, which is against Psalms 89:34. My covenant will I not break nor alter anything that is going out of my lips.
Yeah.
Right. So I just encourage brothers and sisters to look into it for themselves. But there is a video on that Logic 1611 page. It's talking about Enoch. The mic is a little bit off, but if brothers and sisters, they may be able to, get something from it. But a few weeks ago, when you had mentioned it,
Now, I want to make sure I'm promoting the right channel. So your channel looks legit. 1611. There is a backdrop of a city, I believe, like in water, and there's a picture of a cat. Is that your channel?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, Elder.
Okay. So I just want to make sure I can promote. Let me subscribe to you because I haven't subscribed to you. Oh, I usually try to subscribe. I probably didn't know you had a channel. That's probably what it is. Because sometimes people just set up a channel, not to put videos, but just to be able to communicate. So I just subscribe to you. But absolutely, so let me show the people. This is the brother's channel right here. Let me put the actual link, because somebody's asking, Elder, can we put the link of the channel? And maybe one day you could come back. We could maybe discuss this, and you could maybe put you could do a PowerPoint and maybe ask some questions and things of that nature. Now, let me ask you a question. In the year of release, what do you do different? How you reset in the year of Jubilee?
In the year release, it jumps up 1 week. So basically, what happens is, in the Gregorian calendar, for example, they'll have, within our 7 years, they'll have at least 1 leap year. So that video right there, the first one, that's on the screen with the little clock on it, that's the correct video.
Yeah.
And so basically you jump up 1 week, and it actually comes in so next year it'll jump up to, I had to pull up a calendar, but it'll be like March 17th.
Okay. So the method that I came in, that I started, similar to yours. We just got to pick which year is the year of Jubilee, and that's the year that I don't know how to identify. I just picked the day. This is the format I came up with. For my research, and it was just a basic, quick research. The Jubilee, not the Jubilee, the equinox comes in on the 20th, but you're saying it's coming in the 17th, and fine either way, but I started on the 7th year. I started on 2020, and the leap year will be on 2026, I think, for my calculation. But it was just a brief, I haven't solidified yet because I'm still doing more research, so that's why you and I need to talk. Yes,
sir.
So from your calculation, next year, the 2024 is the Jubilee year?
For the year release, yes, sir. And here's why. Because the equinox is not March. There's no, so the term equinox generally does not appear in the scripture.
Right.
And so what we have to search for is even parts night, even parts day. And actually in the video, I actually pull up the National Geographic article. And why is that important? Because National Geographic has now taken that article and they're starting to hide it behind a paywall. So any brothers and sisters right now who are listening to this, feel free to punch in your Google search, the equinox myth busted, National Geographic. You go to it, they'll let you see it for free. You get like 3 free articles. But before that same article that exposes the incorrect equinox used to be completely free. All right. So I understand, like, you know, a lot of brothers and sisters, they generally go to March 20th. But if you pull up timeanddate.com right now on one of your screens and go to that year, and then, because I'll show you how to calculate it. It's simply you go to a sun calculator on timeanddate.com, and you're going to, me personally, I use where I'm located at, but what you want to do, you go to Tel Aviv, which is, or Jerusalem or something like that, whichever one is better for you. You're going to pull up the sun calculator. All right. You're going to scroll all the way down, and you're going to see the even parts night, even parts day. As you scroll down through those dates, it should come in around the 16th or like 16th through 17th. You'll see that.
Okay.
All right. Now, after you've seen that for yourself, go back up just a little bit where it has the March and the year. Click on that, and you're going to drop that from 2023, go back to 2020. And then you can go to 2024. That will allow you to check all these years for yourself. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But you're looking for even parts night, even parts day, according to the scripture, because even 4 minutes later, that's something totally different. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That's something totally different.
Okay.
So you want to find the closest to the even parts night, even parts day. And then you can check each individual year. You can write each on an individual piece of paper. However, because I know some people are more visual, you know, this, that, and the other. But on that thing, I did like a little, you know, slideshow type of presentation. I'm not no professional or nothing.
Yeah.
I usually work with brother Yediah Malek at Kai Yeshua.
Okay.
And but I just wanted to share that with you.
Okay.
And you know what I'm saying? Because I didn't get an opportunity to speak on it a couple of weeks ago. I was at the theater at the time when you were speaking on the subject.
Yeah.
But it's not hard. Once that calendar is set, it's good for 6 years. 364, 364, 364, 364, release. 364, 364, over and over again, release. It becomes a rhythm.
Okay.
Okay. Because like you had mentioned earlier, the brother had mentioned the moon. All right. For those brothers that want to follow the moon, understanding what the scriptures say, it comes in 10 days too soon. Okay.
Yeah.
Understand, if you can't see that moon outside, you can't see that cloud cover, because of cloud cover and all those things, it will, you know, it will throw you off. Right.
Yeah.
But the sun is consistent, and that's what the scriptures tell us to use.
Yeah.
So with that, I yield, and you know, it's an honor getting to talk to you, brother, and you know, shalom.
Shalom, and I'll follow up with you, because maybe we could do a follow up show and more in depth. Maybe you could do a PowerPoint, and then people could ask you questions. I'll ask some questions.
Yes, sir.
Because I think if we can simplify it and just talk about it, it will be nice if we could all come to one calendar, or understand each other's reasons why we follow different calendars, and we do it in a way that is not combative and so forth, so on. And you know, this is what I want this show to be. I want different people from the Israelite community and Christian community and any community to come in and talk about conversations without feeling pressured that I got to be right and people are watching me, so I got to, you know, like in a debate scenario, right? I don't think that's healthy. I think, you know, I think we have to just talk and see things differently and not feel threatened. And don't use words like, oh, brother, you're going off, that's pagan, so forth, so on, because those words are just not helpful. We all trying, I believe we're all sincere. We're all trying to figure it out. I think eventually we're going to figure it out, but I think we have to put in that first love of Christ, right? Patient, long suffering, right? And we're now in the valley of the dry bones waking up. We just figuring this thing out. So we have to just give each other a little more patience and when we see things a little different, But absolutely, brother. So thank you for and I'll follow up with you tomorrow sometime, this week, and then we can maybe do another show follow up because this is I think it's fascinating to me. I love these type of conversations, and because I think these conversations, I get smarter, I get wiser, I see another point of view. I always love when someone proves me wrong because now I have new information that I didn't have before. But for you to allow yourself to receive new information, you got to humble yourself and accept that, hey, you could be wrong in certain things. So give me your name one more time, brother. Is it Tyrese?
My name is Tyrone.
Tyrone. Okay.
On the channel, I go by, yes, sir, Brother Tyrone.
Brother Tyrone. And where you go by your channel?
You
said you go
by?
It's
Logic 1611.
Okay, yep. So I put your channel there. Brother Tyrone, I'll save your number. I'll be calling you from my personal number, which is 646. So, I'll text you before I call so you know it's me.
Yes, sir. And the key point, I like what you said about being willing to learn and this, that, and the other.
Yeah.
My key point that I want to share with brothers and sisters is that they go and they observe for themselves. So say, for example, if the sun goes down today at 7:05 and they go out, they may not go out every day, but they at least take one day, go out and check it out for themselves and say, okay, hey, let me see how these tools that we have available to us actually work. Let me see, can I, or at least during that week where we know that the spring season is about to come in, we go out and we might say, okay, hey, me and the family, we go down by the lake and watch the sunset, or we'll go and, like I live by the ocean here in Oceanside. I'll go and say, okay, hey, I've done that before. That's why you see the picture of the sunset on my page. Yeah. Those photos I took myself because I'll go and observe and make sure it hits that horizon at the set time. Okay. And brothers and sisters, they'll be like, and like I said, no disrespect to brothers and sisters, but I've seen brothers and sisters where they'll be like all the way in the middle of April or on some of their feast days sometimes because, but if we actually go outside and check these things for ourselves, that's what I want to start. I want to get people, being a little bit more proactive, not really as much as fighting each other, but being proactive and saying, hey, this is what I observed. Yeah. This is what I observed. This, that, and the other,
Yeah. And that's right. Within our community, we have to start getting to these disciplines, learning astrology or learning how the earth moves and the sun operates and so forth, so on, because I think there is some knowledge there. And if you see a pattern, that's right there, because pattern mathematics, that's it. That's, you can't debate that. You can't debate a mathematical equation that you could see and observe every year or every 7th year. If you see that pattern, that's easy to follow. And then, and you'll be connecting, yourself with the stars and the elements and so forth. So, and we're not going to get everything right. And we have to, keep evolving and reading and we'll get it right. Yeah, but I think it's the right type of men coming together with the right type of attitude and personality, and we'll dump our egos, in the door and just bring it all out. Let's have a conversation. But what I do want, and what I would like it to be a situation that it's a simple way to follow, so that it's not complicated, and we're not depending on these technologies, right? Because once things collapse, we have to figure out where we at in the week and so forth, so on, and how to, keep these feast days. And not only that, also, if we are going to go back to, basic living and closer to the ground, we got to know these things because of farming and when's the best time the crops to come in and so forth, so on. So all that is legit conversation that we need to start having,
Yeah, I agree. And being that the sun is consistent, when technology does fail, or if, in the event of an EMP or something of that nature.
Yeah.
like, you know how like sometimes during the week we may lose track of a day. Like we'll say, oh, I thought today was the third day
Yeah,
when it's
yeah,
actually the fourth day, something.
yeah,
But what you'll never have happen is everyone lose track of the day. You see what I'm saying? So as long as we're able to count to 7,
yeah,
right? We
right,
know our Sabbath is always on the 7th day,
yeah,
and we count those 52 weeks. You see what I'm saying? We do
yeah,
that a total of 6 times, then we know to reset. It will be consistent because the book, the what's written, I mean, and no disrespect to the brothers that may not accept those writings. I personally, I accept like the writings of Enoch and Jubilees and the 12 patriarchs.
yeah,
And so because it is written, it is consistent. And I've looked, but I've taken years and just looked at it for myself.
yeah,
Because Elder, you know, if you've ever tried to talk to another brother or sister about the calendar, man,
yeah,
it's
yeah, yeah.
they pull the swords out on you, man.
Yeah, and we got to stop that as a community, man. It's not healthy. It's not healthy for us to get so offended and use words. That's pagan. That's off. That's, you know, you're going off. God's gonna, you know, we got to stop that. And I think it comes from, you know, us coming from a poverty world, or because you got the fight or flight scenario. So anytime somebody attacks your doctrine or what you believe, certain endorphin kicks in that you just start fighting and defending or thinking somebody's attacking you when someone is challenging your premise. And I think we have to evolve from that. And it's okay to disagree, and we'll come back to it and we'll grow. So I'm glad brothers like you are out there, because we need more voices like yours. We need voices that are level-headed and looking at this from a practical perspective, and we can learn from each other. Absolutely. So any last words you want to add, brother?
I just want to say shalom to everyone. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to speak, and it was an honor speaking to you, Elder Gabar. I've been watching you for years, so I just want to say shalom to everyone, and I look forward to speaking with you later.
All right, there it is. Brother Tyrone doing his thing. Check out his channel. Let me put his channels one more time. Boom, there it is right there. Okay, and Brother Tyrone, let me see, send me your that particular channel. Let me know which one is it. I mean that particular video, if I could take a look at it as well. We the brother who was on the line, Brother David, you still there?
Yes, sir. Yes,
Okay.
sir, I am.
Okay. So what do you think, man? You think the calendar's a big deal? Do you think is a conversation we should explore? What's your thoughts on that?
I do believe it's a big deal, and I appreciate the brother for coming and sharing everything that he shared too, sharing everything that he's learned and sharing it with us. I believe it's a big deal, and I'm just reiterating what you said on the last time. It's a big deal. And I don't think we should keep brushing it off, and everybody keep saying, "Hey," this person saying, "Hey, I'm 100% right." Hey, what if I am 3% wrong? Well,
Right.
let me listen to the brother who just spoke and see where I'm off, and he may be right, and now I'm able to correct things that I was doing.
Absolutely. Well, thank you, brother, for joining us and sharing your thoughts. Let's keep. Do you have a channel or anything that you're promoting in particular?
Yeah, I have a music channel and I have a podcast channel. So the music is going to be filmed from Zion.
Okay.
And the podcast would be Two in Agreement, TOO in Agreement.
Okay. If you could put your channel on the chat, and then I could maybe put it in. Give me your channel one more time. I could find.
Let me see. Two in Agreement. I'm typing into the chat right now.
Okay, outstanding. I could copy and paste it. That'd be great.
Podcast would be.
And what you focus on in your channel? What is your what you're looking to do with the channel?
So with the Two in Agreement channel, it's me and another brother. We're doing similar things that you're doing. We're just open to conversations, and we're open to building with brothers, and just saying, hey, let's unite. let's unite like Acts 2. You know, bring
Okay.
having all things coming. You know.
Okay. Well, that's a blessing. That's a blessing. Well, maybe what I want to do is like once a month. Okay, I see you there. Okay. Boom, boom, boom. Check out the brother. That's the brother's channel. Let me see if I can find you real quick. Hold on 2 seconds.
The music is filmed from Zion.
Okay. And maybe once a month we could do like a super channel or a super conversation in regards of having all different podcasts up channels, and we could maybe do like a major show. We all come together. We could go live in each other's situations, and we could just have a roundtable discussion, because I think more conversation needs to be had within the Hebrew Israelite community. I think we're too fragmented, we're too divided, and the egos needs to be put aside. Absolutely. So thank you, brother, for calling and supporting.
Hey, thank you, Elder, for having me.
All right, bless you, brother. Bless you. All right, Shalom. There's Brother David. Okay. He's doing his thing. Thank you, brother, for sharing. These are the type of brothers I want to talk to, man. Level-headed brothers, and brothers that see the vision and see the what can we take this, and we have to engage in talk, man. And I think we've been too separated with our camps and so forth, so on. And I'm not knocking the churches, and I'm not knocking what you need to do, but sometimes we have to have a conversation. What can we network and so forth, so on. And I understand, doctrine is important. I'm not minimizing doctrine, but we're just waking up, man. This is the valley of the dry bones. We're just getting up. We just, we're scratching our eyes. We're like trying to figure out what's going on. We're in the infant state of this. So I hope you guys enjoyed the show. I hope you guys continue. If you guys have any ideas for any future shows or so for so on, please send an email to IAMFITPodcast@gmail.com. If you're interested about joining Man Going God's Way, the description is below. The email is there. Send me an email. Make sure you put your phone. We could have a conversation, and then we could continue going God's way and do it right. So until next time, may the Most High keep you. May the Most High watch you. And peace and blessings. Shalom.